Welcome to Newspresso. Here is the top story in the past 6 hours. A recent Gallup survey shows a surprising trend. The trend is reshaping how we think. It also shapes our view of America's future. The poll asked a straightforward question. If you could, would you leave the United States? Would you do it permanently? The answer was 40% for women aged 15 to 44. 4 times the 10% recorded back in 2014. Even more striking, the desire to migrate is double. The desire to migrate is double that of men. Among this group, it is twice that of men, with 19% of men expressing the same wish. The gender gap in knowledge about the Electoral College remains a significant challenge for American democracy. The Electoral College is a crucial mechanism that determines the outcome of presidential elections. It involves a complex system of electors who cast votes on behalf of each state. This system has created a significant knowledge gap among Americans, especially between men and women. In a recent survey, 47% of women answered at least one question about the Electoral College. In contrast, 48% of men answered at least one question about the Electoral College. This highlights the need for better education and awareness about this critical aspect of our political system. The Electoral College is a vital part of American democracy, and knowledge about its function is essential for making informed voting decisions. According to a recent Pew Research Center survey, 47% of women answered at least one question about the Electoral College. However, 57% of men answered at least one question about the Electoral College. In a survey conducted in 2020, 70% of women trusted internet news, said they trusted TV news. However, 57% of men said they trusted internet news, said they trusted TV news. The gender gap in knowledge about the Electoral College is a major concern for American democracy. Both men and women are expected to know how the system works. Unfortunately, women have a lower level of knowledge compared to men. This disparity can create an unequal playing field in politics and lead to a less informed electorate. The problem is due to various factors, including lack of education and lack of political engagement. However, it also reflects a lack of engagement on the part of the political process and a lack of awareness about the system. This lack of engagement can create a perception that the system is not relevant or that it is too complicated. In turn, this can reduce the level of participation in the Electoral College. The gender gap in knowledge about the Electoral College can have significant implications for the functioning of our political system. The gap can have a direct effect on the level of public support for the Electoral College. A significant portion of the public does not support the system. This lack of support is a major problem for the future of the Electoral College. A better understanding of how the Electoral College works can increase awareness and help voters to have better knowledge about it. It will also help them to make informed choices about candidates and policies. Moreover, better understanding can also help create a better and more stable political environment for all parties. The results of the survey highlight a significant gender gap in knowledge about the Electoral College. The lack of knowledge and misinformation can result in a lack of understanding about how the Electoral College works and how it influences election results. This can result in negative impacts on democracy and civic engagement. Therefore, it is essential for people to be aware of the role of the Electoral College in determining election outcomes. The problem is that many people do not have a clear understanding of how the Electoral College works. This lack of knowledge can lead to confusion and misinformation about the Electoral College. It is therefore essential to create a more effective and accurate system that helps individuals to better understand the role and function of the Electoral College. The gender gap is a result of the fact that men and women do not have the same level of education. This gap is also a reflection of the fact that women do not have the same level of awareness about the system. In conclusion, the gender gap in the knowledge of the Electoral College is a significant problem that needs to be addressed. We need to ensure that both men and women have a clear and accurate understanding of how the Electoral College works. This is essential for ensuring a stable and fair political system that is based on the democratic principles of equality and fairness. Therefore, the gender gap is a problem that needs to be addressed and requires a more effective way to educate people about the Electoral College. The problem is that we need to increase awareness about how the Electoral College works. In this way, the gender gap is a problem that needs to be addressed. In short, a growing segment of young women are not just dreaming of life abroad, they are also increasingly disillusioned with the status quo. When asked about where they would go, Canada tops the list, followed by New Zealand, Italy, and Japan. These destinations reflect a yearning for opportunities, safety, and a sense of community that, in their view, the United States can no longer provide. Gallup's question was about desire, not concrete plans. Yet previous research suggests that a good portion of those who express a wish to move actually do follow through, especially when economic or political conditions deteriorate. The bottom line is clear. More women than ever before are looking beyond U.S. borders, and their doubts about national institutions are growing. Subscribe Newspresso. Never miss a major global headline.